Say hello to Firefly Gotta Go. A lightweight and portable toilet seat made to enhance children's lives, the Gotta Go is a safe and supportive toilet seat for use at home and away. Gotta Go is designed for children aged 2 to 9 years and with a maximum user weight of 30 kilograms. Unfolding the Gotta Go frame. To unfold the frame, identify the buttons on the underside of the frame. When unfolding the legs, ensure the feet are resting on the ground as opposed to up in the air. Check that all 4 legs are locked in position. Adjusting the frame height. The Gotta Go has 3 height settings: potty, standard toilet, and disabled toilet heights. The height is shown on green numbered indicators on each of the legs. Identify the height adjustment buttons on the inside of each of the frame's legs. To adjust the height, disengage the safety lock first. Pull outwards and then quarter turn to release. Push in the release buttons on the legs simultaneously and gently lift the frame upwards. Repeat this motion with the rear buttons. As you lift, release the button. This will allow the legs to drop down to standard height. You will hear an audible click. Repeat for 2 rear legs. Standard height is number 2 on the indicators. Return safety lock to engaged position by quarter turning and pushing inwards. To adjust to disabled toilet height. To adjust the height, disengage the safety lock first. Pull outwards and then quarter turn to release. Push in the release buttons on the legs simultaneously and gently lift the frame upwards. Repeat this motion with the rear buttons. As you lift, release the button. This will allow the legs to drop down to disabled toilet height. You will hear an audible click. Repeat for 2 front legs. Disabled toilet height is number 3 on the indicators. Ensure each of the legs is set to the same level, shown on the green numbered indicators. Return safety lock to engaged position by quarter turning and pushing inwards. Attaching the Gotta Go seat to the frame. Secure the ratchet and side straps before placing the Gotta Go seat into the frame. Feed the strap through the ratchet. You will know the connection has been made when you hear audible clicks as the strap is pushed through the ratchet. On the main grey frame, pull the latches on the receiving groove upwards. Attach the Gotta Go seat to the frame by lining up the seat connectors over the receiving groove. The groove has visual indicators which will help you secure the seat symmetrically. Push the seat connectors into the groove and then lock in place by pushing down on the latches. You will hear an audible snap when they are locked. Attaching the footplate. The footplate can be attached by easily slotting into one of 4 designated positions on the frame. An audible click will be heard when fitted correctly. When you are content with the height of the footplate, engage the hooking locks. This will only need to be done once, as the frame will fold with the footplate attached. The hooking locks are engaged by attaching the hooks to the receivers at the rear of the footplate. Slot the hooks through the receivers with the hoop at the top. Attaching the safety belt. Attach the safety belt using the attachment points on the back of the seat. Choose a notch that will be comfortable but secure for the child, and hook on to attachment point on both sides. Always attach the safety belt immediately when user is seated in the Gotta Go. Attaching the potty. Slide potty along the rails until the front of the potty reaches the splash guard on the seat. These are the daily checks for your Gotta Go. Ensure the product is clean and dry before use. Always read user manual before use. Ensure that all straps and seating elements are secure. Check the footplate is secured. Never use the footplate to prop the child on during transfers. Ensure all legs have safety locks engaged before placing the child in the product. Children should not be left unattended in their Gotta Go toilet seat at any time. Ensure the seat is connected correctly to the frame and check that it is stable and secure before placing the child in. Do not touch any moving joint or pivot that is not locked. Shifting the user while seated or making adjustments whilst user is seated is not advisable. Take care that fingers do not get pinched during assembly or adjustments. Never move or lift the Gotta Go with the child in it. When cleaning Gotta Go, use warm water and non-abrasive detergents. Never use organic solvents or dry cleaning fluids. The safety belt and ankle straps can be removed and cleaned with warm soapy water when required. Clinical setup. Adjusting the seat position. The most desirable position to achieve is having the feet behind or underneath the knees. Unlock the seat connectors in the frame. To do this, gently push the side of the seat towards the frame and then lift the lock. Slide the seat along the groove to the desired position and then ensure the seat is locked back into place. Adjusting the foot plate. Attach the foot plate at a height that enables weight bearing along the full length of the thigh. Having the foot plate too high can cause excess pressure to the bottom, which hinders relaxation. Adjusting the back angle. The ratchet straps can be adjusted to prompt your child to lean forward and help them rest their arms onto the armrests or their legs to help provide natural anterior trunk and head support. This will also help provide contoured lateral and posterior support and promote relaxation of the bowels and pelvic floor muscles. Closing the back angle may reduce high muscle tone. The ratchet straps can be set up asymmetrically if required. Now your Gotta Go is ready. Disassembling your Gotta Go. Removing the potty. If the potty has been used, carefully slide it away from the splash guard. Dispose of contents as necessary and wash thoroughly. Removing the seat. Unlock the seat connectors in the frame by gently pushing the side of the seat towards the frame and then lift the lock. Release the ratchet straps by pressing the release button and pulling the strap free. Fold sides of the seat inwards with the backrest on top of them. Use the seat strap to hold in place. Removing the foot plate. If removing the foot plate, ensure the locking hooks are released. Press the thumb release catches at either side of the foot plate and slide out of the slot. Folding the frame. Release safety lock from engaged position and press the button on the inside of the legs to return to the lowest height setting, ready to fold away. Return safety lock to engaged position by quarter turning and pushing inwards. Before folding, ensure Gotta Go is on the ground and legs are fully apart. Then press in the buttons on the underside of the frame, lift up and fold. Packing the backpack. Take your folded frame and slide it into the backpack. Take your folded seat and set into available gap in the backpack. Take your potty and put it into the gap. For further information on cleaning care, daily product inspection, and safe operation, please refer to your Gotta Go user manual.